city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it for us.
Back on this rap-ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu, and I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's out the Capitol Hills rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and plan to getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me, I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it for us.
That Dre season is here. A real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz. And I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it
I hate
for
these
us.
average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged the bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I probably cracking my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete, I'm a verbal athlete. Deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city. I did it for the love. I did it for the people. I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
Hey, everybody, Grand Rising, and welcome to you. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I want to bring you into a welcome Wednesday for sure. Today, we have a great lineup for you guys, as always. And, you know, the great thing about it is I get to do it alongside my brother, G. Prez, stepping in for Omari today. What's up, G. Prez?
Come on, welcome Wednesday. I'm in the building. You already know. Anytime I get the call on the bat line,
Right.
I always got to show up for Converge. I love coming down.
Well, we so appreciate you. Always bring great energy and good vibes. And we got a great show today. We got Mike Davis coming up after we get into a little bit of these headlines and, you know, how we like to do, starting the show off right. We also got the Factorz here today. The twins are going to be telling us about what they have coming up on Factorz TV. And then we also got Brian Callanan in the building. So it's going to be a great show. I'm glad you're with us.
Man, we got some hitters today. I'm glad to be here, man. Excited. I got a little something in the bag, too. It's the week of love. I'm rolling it the whole week, so I brought you a little something for my sis. I'm happy to be here. You know how we get down. It's always good.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if you saw on Monday, but Sean Good brought it all the way home.
Word.
Wife, man. Let me tell you, Omari put him up to the challenge of a soliloquy. I'm going to have to ask Omari to clip that out because we're going to need to show that several times this week. just amazing words that he gave to his wife. So I'm glad you're continuing the love throughout the week, my brother.
All day. And I gotta find out what happened in Belize. I missed it, so I know it went down.
Yes, me and you will definitely have to chop it up. So we'll get right into this right here. Grand Rising again, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. Want to remind you that right now is a perfect opportunity to tag and share the stream. Please tag and share the stream with people you feel could benefit from culturally relevant news emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Got to give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Also, we've been keeping this information going, and now there's culturally relevant information out there for COVID-19 vaccines, testing, boosters, questions. You guys can go to hereforuswa.org and you guys can find more information there. They are doing some culturally relevant communications, my brother, and we've been playing one of their ads throughout the week, but it's just great to see that there's intentionality to really reach our community when it comes to COVID-19.
Man, that's what's up. And that's one thing I love to see is when it's intentional to reach out and bring information, valuable information to our community. So I'm looking forward to tapping in and seeing what's up with that.
Yeah. And, not only that, Omari loves to always talk about the fact that they weren't just intentional with their messaging and the output, but also who was pouring into that. So working with Black producers, Black media moguls, they really went all out on this one. So shout out to the Department of Health over at DOH. We appreciate you guys for that intentionality. And please check out that link if you guys are looking for information, if you're still hesitant, if you're trying to see some culturally relevant production around COVID-19. There's a lot of people that have been hesitant, man, and they're speaking out. And they said, we talked to community and we actually heard what community needed. And so they're pushing back and saying, we're here for y'all and we're going to give you guys the information. So I'm glad that that link is there. Also want to keep on reminding you guys that you can check out covidtest.gov if you guys are looking for free home testing. They will send up to 4 kits per household. And, I'm seeing it now, man, bro. There's a wave of people that are using these rapid tests right now to enter their establishments, their buildings, their organizations. People are trying to be as safe as they can right now. And these rapid tests are helping out.
No doubt. Yeah, I put in an order for mine. Mine came in the mail, and so I got 4 at the crib for myself. Also at all Rite Aid drugstores in Western Washington, there's 3 free N95 masks for yourself and for everybody that's in your household. So that's something else that's cool. Free N95 masks available at the Rite Aid drugstores.
Oh, you know what? That's a great tip right there, Prez, because we just had Brandon Hersey on too, and he was talking about how the kids at Seattle Public Schools, those students were like, look, man, y'all ain't coming with it. We need those N95 masks, right? Now we're getting more information. It means that we're all having to adjust and move along with the information we're getting, man. And those are the ones that have.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. Yeah. Thank you for that tip, Prez, as always. So, we got a lot of guests today. We want to make sure we get right into it. You guys, I just want to send this reminder because I love this piece. You guys can also find the Morning Update Show anywhere you find podcasts. You guys can look at the link. Salman is putting SoundCloud right there, but we also are on Google, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you guys find your local podcast. You guys can check us out. In case you're driving and you want to hear us on your drive in, we're there for you, making sure you guys can get it anywhere you can. Now, coming up next, we got our guy, Mike. He's in the building. Mike Davis, a clapback culture, and also the South Seattle Emerald. Let's bring Mike in.
Come on, where's my guy at? They be talking that talk on the clapback. They be talking that talk.
Every time. Good morning, my brother. You're on mute. It's so a thing.
They mute me when they bring me in. I wasn't on mute at first, I promise. But hey, Trey, what's up, Prez? How y'all doing?
What's up with it, Black?
Doing
What's going
good.
down?
Doing good. Good to see you, man. How have you been, Mike? I didn't get to check in with you last week. How you been doing, brother?
I've been doing good. All things considered, I'd say I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Well, you were saying, look, the mayor, he did a speech yesterday kind of addressing the public. There were some things you thought that were interesting in that speech. I want to throw it right over to you. Tell us what you found that was interesting with Mayor Harrell.
Well, I think what jumped out to me, honestly, was a lot of the pieces around public safety. The defund the police movement was pretty big here, especially if you go back to 2020 and all the protests and everything that happened after. But I was actually one of the first journalists that had the opportunity to sit down with Mayor Harrell once he announced that he was running. And one thing that jumped out to me then was how strong he was on this. He does not want to defund the police. He wants to reshape the police. He's had friends that are police, and he just has this whole different vision. And I think that during this speech, he kind of spoke to a couple of those things. I think that that public safety piece, though, also ties directly into his idea of bringing city workers back downtown. Because, of course, he's a businessman. He wants to revitalize downtown. Bringing city workers will boost the business. But in order to do that, there's just a lot of cleaning up and things that have to happen downtown. So I found all of that interesting. I think that his Seattle specific training for police, I mean, this is something that we haven't seen before. I'm sure that a lot of folks will probably criticize it, but I'm actually interested to see what it looks like. I mean, when you look at our communities, you look at the CD, you look at the South End, you look at what's happening, you look at the shootings, people do need safety. So if he has a way to create Seattle-specific safety, I'm interested to see what it looks like. I'm also interested to see this new department that's going to be based on community members who are culturally competent masters of de-escalation, as Mayor Harrell puts it. But, we got to see what he does. I mean, he's so big on collaboration. I think that a lot of the messages, even when he talks about COVID-19 recovery, when he talks about housing, when he talks about the relationship that he wants to have with city council, I think that a lot of what he's saying is based on collaboration and trying to get people to work together. And with him having that background of being a football player and being a teammate, I'm just interested to see if he's actually able to make this collaboration happen.
Okay. So what about far as the access to the mayor? He's the new mayor. He seems real city, grounded from the town. Do you feel any difference as far as accessibility to him and to his office versus previous people that held that position?
Absolutely. And I think that that's a great point that you bring up. While he campaigned, I saw so many journalists and activists and people who will get really upset when he would talk about his ties to Seattle and his ties to the community. And that always struck me as weird. I think that it's extremely beneficial to have a mayor that's actually from Seattle, because that's going to change his perspective on a lot of these issues. As someone who's from Seattle myself, for example, like I've been downtown and I've seen encampments where I see somebody that I knew from my childhood. That pulls on my heart in a whole different way, because like that's just a really human moment, because that's a person that I grew up with. That could have been me. Mayor Harrell talks about having similar experiences. I think over the summer when there was the shooting at the CD Panthers football game and Mayor Harrell showed up, I think that that's another example of where people in the community have Mayor Harrell's phone number. Like there's so many of us, myself included, that could easily make a phone call and end up on the phone with Mayor Harrell because he's from here. He grew up in the CD. He has so many ties to the community. So yes, he's absolutely way more accessible than Mayor Durkin was, for sure.
Yeah, I think that is such a great point, Prez. And I agree with you there too, Mike, that, I am experiencing that myself. I mean, there's something about somebody who, I love that example you just gave of seeing somebody in a tent city, seeing somebody that that's unhoused. You grew up with them. I dealt with that same situation when we see our peers that, life, things happen to them and, whatever choices or experiences, whatever, it's a disheartening thing, honestly. And there's nothing like being from the city and seeing that. So I really appreciate that perspective. And I think both of you guys made a great point there. But clapback culture here, you guys are talking about way more than just what's going on in Seattle. And I know this is an exciting week for clapback because Julia Jesse will be in the building. You guys will both be in studio. So it'll be great to have you guys in the Black Media Matter studio together. Tell us a little bit about what folks can expect this week on clapback.
Yes, well, like you mentioned, you will see Julia. She will be here with me. We will be in studio. I'm super excited for that. And to be honest, Trey, I mean, there's so many topics to discuss. As y'all know, last week we were off. So there's still topics from last week that we might bring back. Definitely want to have fun. I mean, the Super Bowl just happened. That halftime show, it went down. You got Eminem taking a knee, Kendrick Lamar being censored, Dr. Dre not allowing himself to be censored. You got everybody wearing black, and then Snoop Dogg is dressed in a Crip flag. You got C walking at the Super Bowl. It was bananas. So we definitely have to break that down. Our boy Joe Rogan ended up back in the news after that. I stood up for Joe Rogan on our last show, and then they dropped the clip of this guy just saying the N-word all over the place. We're going to have to break that down. On a more serious note, of course, we all know what happened with Amir Locke. We're definitely going to have to break that down. Another interesting one, the federal trial for the killers of Ahmaud Arbery just started. They did the jury selection. They did the opening statements. They are going to try to prove that if Arbery had been white, he would have been allowed to jog. In some of this preliminary stuff, we're seeing text messages emerge where the McMichaels are just being blatantly racist in conversations with their friends and family. I mean, a lot of that is on the internet that y'all can research, but we're going to break all that down. There's probably going to be even more. It's going to be I promise y'all, this show is going to be so fun. We're both going to be in studio. We got so many topics to discuss. Thursday night, 7 p.m. Make sure you're there. It's going to be so fun.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna tell you right there, like Prez. I mean, they talk about the stuff that we can talk about off camera, man. They talk about it on camera.
They talking that talk, man. They talking that talk. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. And we got to throw an after party. I'm already, what I'm saying? We go clap back, pop it, and pop it some more. So, man, I can't wait for you guys to get down here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Mike, for joining us on your busy Wednesday. We know you have a lot going on. Appreciate you stopping by right here for the Morning Update show. And again, you guys heard it right there from Mike Davis. Check out Clapback Culture tomorrow, 7 p.m. right here on Converge Media. It's clearly going down with all the topics you just mentioned. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thanks, Trey. Thanks, Prez. Y'all have a good one.
Come on.
You too. Oh, my gosh. I'm telling you, every time I hear from Mike or Jules, I'm like, my gosh, they get to talk about it all.
Man, I just want to put on all black, you know what I'm saying, to go real black. They get me my Black Panther come out when they get to talking that talk. So, no, I love when them two come together. And the perspectives, they little back and forth and everything, I love it. It's one of my favorite shows on Converge for sure.
Yeah, they do a great job, but they also dig in. They dig in ways that I don't really see on other shows. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about current events, hot topics, certain headlines, particularly ones that involve our community. But the way they do it is very unique. So I'm just glad. I'm glad my girl's going to be in town too. I'm so excited to see her. So there's a lot happening. You guys, right after this break, we got to bring up our next big crew. We got Ronald and Ronnel, the Factorz TV. They're going to be telling us all about what's coming up on Factorz TV for us this week. You guys stay tuned. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host today, Trey Holiday, and joining me as co-host is my guy, my brother, Prez. I gotta say that photo right there of the twins in that commercial clip right there. Jake always captures the best moments, man. It's neither one of them are really looking at the camera. He's just capturing pure joy on that and on their faces.
Dope.
I love it. Let's bring in the twins, Ronald and Ronnel from the Factorz TV.
Yo,
what's up?
Prez, what's good, baby? love it. Good morning,
What's
G
up with it,
Prez,
Hey,
Trey. What's
baby?
going
bro.
on?
Welcome Wednesday to you. How y'all doing today?
Great, man. How you doing? What's going on with y'all? How you guys doing? I'm good.
We're
Just ready to
doing
be
good.
here.
We're doing good. G Prez, man, it's good to see you. Many moons, man. Many moons of this, man. You already know. Good
Come
to see you,
on,
bro.
man. Come on, guys. I'm still around. You don't know. A lot of cats
Why
don't know how
not?
long
Why
I've been
not?
around.
Well,
Yes, sir.
always a
Relevant
pleasure
like
to
an
have y'all
elephant.
on. You know, I mean, you guys are always talking about certain topics too, and you guys bring your own spin to it.
Yeah.
Let us know, Ronnel. I'll come straight to you. Tell us what folks can kind of expect this week for the Factorz TV.
Well, you know, we try to keep it a little bit of a updated pop culture mixed with some, you know, politics, some what's going on around us. We're gonna be speaking on Seattle Black history, and this week it'll be about the Buffalo Soldiers. Not many people know, but Discovery Park was actually once Fort Lawton, and it's where over 100 soldiers who were in the 25th Infantry for the U.S. Army, which makes me think, why is it, you know, Fort Lawton Park? But we're going to be speaking on that. We're going to be speaking on Erin Jackson. She's the first Black woman to medal in speed skating, you know, in the ice skating event, speed skating in the Olympics. She's the first Black woman to medal in that. We're going to go back and forth between many topics. You know, we're going to talk about Kodak Black being shot at Justin Bieber's event. And my take from it is, you know, there's been really no headlines, no news, and no arrest. If Justin Bieber was shot at Kodak Black's party, would it be the same? So I'm going to be speaking a lot of stuff, man. I'm sure bro got his topics too he want to speak on.
Man, yeah, it all sound like y'all got some good stuff going. I love the Buffalo Soldiers piece.
Yeah.
I was actually doing a little research on that myself while I'm working on a documentary about blacks on bikes, and I discovered that part of what the Buffalo Soldiers was assigned to do was see the feasibility of riding bikes.
Yeah.
And they put them, they weren't even on the horses. A lot of times we think, you know, back then they tried to have these brothers riding state to state on bikes. So, man, I look forward to man, on the bikes, 2 wheels on us, you know. So I look forward to getting some more information and details on that particular topic. But what else y'all got going on? It sounds like y'all hitting some really good, you know what I'm saying, topics. What else y'all got coming up and y'all gonna be speaking on?
Oh man, well, I'm gonna be speaking on this recent event during this Super Bowl weekend with Russ and Sierra being highlighted leaving a party because Future's performing. And at first I was wondering, maybe, you know, she's bitter, but maybe it was a publicity stunt. You never know, because they work in the same industry. You're gonna cross paths, and they timed it perfectly. Her and Russ is walking out, and Drake is pumping up Future. I'm like, oh, this looks so bad. But we're gonna be speaking on that on a lighter entertainment note. On a serious note, Washington State just passed a law where firearms can't hold more than 10 bullets in a cartridge, and you know, the National Rifle Association, they don't take that lightly. So it sparked a beef at the Capitol. So that's been going on in the past week, and it's been really quiet because, of course, you know, it's a mixed party when it comes to protecting yourself and carrying firearms and weapons and stuff. But that's a huge thing for the state to pass, and it's been a lot of buyback for them. They've really been getting a lot of bad feedback on that, and it's been a war up at the Capitol for people who believe in gun rights and, you know, certain things that come with it. So we're going to touch a little bit of entertainment, but also touch on the community and what's going on around our state as well.
Well, you know, I got to say, there's so many topics to go around, and I love Wednesdays because sometimes topics can overlap, but you guys are talking about a bunch of different things that Clapback Culture is talking about. It's different than what we talk about right here on the Morning Update Show. It's different than what's on Seattle News, Views, and Brews. I just love the fact that there is a ton of topics, honestly, Prez, that we can all be covering, and we can cover it in these real specific ways, bringing our perspectives into it, man.
No question. No question. I mean, everybody got their different angle, man.
Yeah,
man, I love it.
No,
I love what you guys is doing, man.
No, yeah, I appreciate you, G Prez. That's why I love Converge, because you get to control your own narrative, you know, and that's what I was saying last week on our last episode. For so many times and different reasons, you know, different media outlets try to speak for you, and as you know, a Black man or woman, we get to create our own narrative and, you know, speak about what we want to speak about, what's important to us, and what we feel like should be out there. So Converge is a big part of, you know, what we're doing these days. So shout out to Black media, because Black media matters. Appreciate you guys.
No, I mean, you know, they're right. But also, too, what I love about that is that there's topics that are important to you both, right? Or to either one of you separately. Yeah. And we know that because it's important to one of us, there's others that are going to resonate with that message, right? Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, is that people, I love how you said that, just across Converge, how people can find what they're looking for, literally, no matter what show they're tapping into, there's different topics. And there's going to be some unique perspectives that maybe it brings something into them, like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Or maybe it's like, that's exactly what I've been thinking.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
what I'm saying.
That's it.
I love that. I love that. Always great to tap in with you guys. Let's go ahead and go to the white so we can say bye to our brothers here. We so appreciate you guys for coming on Welcome Wednesday and giving us a little bit about what you guys are doing at the Factorz TV. Make sure people know where they can find Factorz TV and when they can watch.
Well,
we're gonna be released. Oh, go ahead, bro.
You can find it on all platforms. You can find it on Converge Media. We're dropping the episode tomorrow. It's usually Thursday around 9 o'clock. We'll be sending out links. But if you follow Converge, or if you don't, share this with your friends and family, and come check out all the mini episodes and TV shows and podcasts that we're contributing. It's all about us, like Fubu did back in the day. We're bringing it back for us by us. Black Media Matters. So tap in.
Yep.
Absolutely. For us, by us.
No doubt. What I like really about what you guys are doing is that you guys are really inspiring. There's a lot of people that know us from moving around the community and tap in. We might be sliding through a club or an event, and we really don't get a chance to have any in-depth conversation. So really to be able to see you guys express yourselves, you know what I'm saying, is dope and inspiring for other people that want to do what you're doing, far as having a show of their own or doing this type of content. So keep doing what you guys are doing. Anything I ever can do to help support it, phone call away. You already know what it is.
Man, always. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having us. Shout out Trey, shout out G Prez, man. It's easy like it's Sunday morning, but it's Wednesday. Everybody be good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Much love, bros. Oh man, they're doing some great stuff. And there it is. I mean, we're talking about two different shows, both of them talking about current events and different things going on. I love how they're throwing in this political spin, because one of the things that I think is so important is people seeing people that look like them talk about topics that maybe they're not familiar with. Yeah. And it also opens up the floodgate of like curiosity and trying to figure it out. What is that? Well, what was going on down in Olympia? Because I wasn't even hip, right? Yeah. All of that is so important, Prez.
Well, man, as a concealed weapon owner myself, I wasn't aware of that. So that's good information for myself personally. And I think these guys are bringing like barbershop talk, you know, saying to the masses. Yeah. And it's something that people can tap into. And I love the fact that Converge is available on so many different platforms. It's really convenient to listen to it in so many ways. And them guys is bringing that heat, that real heat. I'm proud of those dudes.
Yeah, you know, Omari said, man, look, this has been a labor of love, man. They've been working on it. I remember when they came in originally and they were just doing the podcast. So I love seeing the elevation of the show as well. It's just a great thing all around. And honestly, I mean, we get to follow this up, you guys, because coming up after this break, we got our guy, Brian Callanan. Yes, he's from the Seattle channel and host of News, Views, and Brews right here on Converge Media. He's going to be diving into some topics that are not always tapped in to on our other platforms. So again, giving you guys a wide array of things for you guys to consider. Up next after this break, we're bringing in Brian Callanan. Stay tuned. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Every student who wants to play music should have the opportunity to. Do you know any young people that are excited to start learning music or pick their instrument back up? Seattle Jazz Ed is now enrolling for spring classes. Open to youth across the area, all music programs are offered on a sliding scale, pay-what-you-can model, and free loaner instruments are available for every family. Taught by some of Seattle's finest artists, classes are designed to meet musicians where they are in skill level with options for beginner, intermediate, and advanced level. And this season, we're opening up ensembles with options for drummers, vocalists, and instrumentalists of all kinds. Registering for March classes can be done online or over the phone. And you can learn more by checking out seattlejazzed.org or calling or texting 206-324-JAZZ.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host today, Trey Holiday. And joining me is my bro, Brian Callanan from Seattle Channel and Seattle News, Views, and Brews. What's up, Brian?
It's really good to see you, Trey. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, you know what? It's great because Wednesdays, we try to pack it all in.
Yeah.
Because we know that there's a lot of different perspectives out there, as Prez and I were just talking about, that really spans the spectrum.
Yeah.
And you're going to be talking about something in a different way here, but you have a clip you want to show us. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, Mike was talking earlier about the State of the City address that Mayor Harrell made yesterday. And I dove into it a little bit further into the podcast, talking about what's going on here. Actually, in listening to this yesterday, I thought it was interesting. This is the first time in a little while that the mayor has actually addressed the council directly in his comments there. That hasn't happened for a few administrations. It's a situation where sometimes they would tape it and play it later, but he really wanted to emphasize this idea of one Seattle. We heard that in his inaugural address about a month ago. He really tried to hit that home today, talking with the council about his different priorities, this one Seattle concept. Let's listen to a part of what he said.
Together we can change the narrative in our city and make Seattle a better place for the people who call it home. To do so, I'll need your help. Not tomorrow, today. Let's go to work, and thank you very much. One Seattle.
So there he goes, talk about one Seattle yet again, and the whole politics of A-N-D. He actually spelled it out during the press conference there. I thought that was very interesting because he's going to have to be working very closely with the council in the months upcoming. Mike brought up that piece about public safety. It's going to be important to watch that, seeing how the mayor tries to bring on additional police officers. He's also talking about homelessness. This could get a little touchy, but he's talking about doing some work in Woodland Park to clear out some people. Is there going to be enough shelter space for them? That's another piece to consider. And the third one I think is really interesting. He's talking about trying to fill in a shortfall in the budget that the city has right now. As it stands, this new payroll tax, the jumpstart tax that we've talked about a few times, it looks like they have an overage there of about $30-some million. And so the mayor's saying, all right, well, great. Looks like there's an overage there. I'm going to put it into some of my priorities. That in the past was a problem with Mayor Durkin. The council said, hey, we specifically said where these revenues were going to go. So we could see some back and forth between the council and the mayor over that. Again, it's very early in his administration, but I thought those were three big issues that he hit on that the council is going to have to respond to.
Well, this is really interesting. First off, I want to say that when you talk about past administrations, not directly addressing council, this is something that I think sometimes has a huge drawback on society as a whole, on all of the Seattleites. Like we've seen this, how, it really lures the citizens in the balance between this kind of push and pull between the mayor's administration and city council. And really one of the things that I was like, hey, maybe this is a jump in the, a leap of faith or a jump in the dark or something. But I was really like, this is an opportunity for the Harrell administration to be bold in their approach to really address council, but to mend those fences, Brian. I mean, is this something that you think seems feasible? I don't know with some of the things he's proposing.
I'm not sure either, but I think the language is right. And he actually called out individual council members in his address there. So I think he really is trying to make that connection. And to be honest, I think you've seen it. I even saw it with the Durkin administration too. In terms of priorities, they are 90% aligned on just about all of those things, right? But that 10% is where the difference is. And to focus on the 10 rather than the 90, I think that's the issue he's trying to get at here. There's a lot of agreement here. Some of the approaches might be a little different. We're going to see how that plays out. But that coming together of the mayor and the city council, I think is really important too. You don't want to see those fights going on. Not that you want everybody to agree with each other all the time, but there is a healthy way to have a discussion about this. And we're going to see how that plays out here. Again, some things to keep an eye on: public safety, homelessness, and also this whole idea of where do the revenues from the jumpstart tax go. That's going to be an important test here coming up next couple of weeks.
Well, I also think too, I mean, listening to folks that are at the Regional Homelessness Authority, I mean, their goal really is to implement practices and strategies that work. I mean, one of the things that I really appreciated about Mark Dones being on when he was here on the Morning Update show, he was saying or they were saying, look, at the end of the day, there's things that have tried to be implemented in the last 30 years that really didn't have any legs when it comes to homelessness. So I'm wondering how much the Harrell administration is connecting with now this regional approach to homelessness, which I think is so key. It wasn't necessarily there in the beginning of Mayor Durkin's administration. And now there's an opportunity to maybe look at some strategies and approaches that can address it from a regional perspective.
And it's important to point out, COVID hitting the last couple of years made our homelessness issue just that much more acute, right? So I think what we're seeing now is hopefully coming out of that, right? coming out of this COVID pandemic that we've been through, and seeing if these responses really work. In terms of that regional piece there, Mark Dones is right. He's going to be working with a lot of different cities here, but in terms of the actual work that happens on the ground, that's still up to cities like Seattle to say, okay, what does this outreach look like? What kind of people are we going to have that are going to do some peer connections with these people? The mayor's going to be talking about that a little bit later on this week, some new money that came in from philanthropy that's going to help out with that. So there's going to be some more outreach workers out there. It's really up to him to make that connection and make it work from a regional perspective. And just one last point on that, something to watch out for at the end of this month, the eviction moratorium is ending in Seattle. I know Councilmember Sawant's talking about trying to extend it. We'll see what happens with that. She has a meeting later on this week, but it's ending in Seattle at the end of this month. And I think there are tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people out there who are still behind on rent. There's a lot of concern about that right now. And I think that's a part of this picture too. More people could end up homeless. A lot of advocates say. Other people say we're going to weather this thing just fine. So we'll see what happens at the end of this month.
I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there. That's where I was going next here, is about this moratorium being lifted. I mean, the fact that it's been extended
7 times. Yeah.
It's like a Band-Aid, right? On a major gash.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
on a heart attack.
It's like, it's not covering it. We knew it wasn't going to cover it. It was trying to really buy time for a sustainable approach to be implemented. And yet I feel like we're coming against this this ending of the moratorium and not with an actual sustainable plan in place. And that's where I think, I know for renters, some of that maybe anxiety a bit is raising around, okay, wait a minute. Now this is applying to me. And what does that mean for me? And I also think, Omari made this point earlier this week. It's also probably hitting the sheriff's office. Because the resources that it would take to actually evict, when we talk about hundreds of thousands of people, that's a crazy number. We've never seen this in our history.
No, it's going to be interesting to watch. I think keeping an eye on how King County is getting money out, that's been a big problem. The city of Seattle says, all right, we're going to set aside $25 million through our housing department to try to help these people out. And I want to make sure that we recognize out here, we have renters who are having issues. We have landlords who are having issues too. They all need to access this money. What I think is going to be important to bring out too, and we mentioned this and we talk about this in the podcast this week, is this whole idea of what happens now. If these evictions are cleared to happen, there's going to be a court system that has to be accessed here. Now, that can be a problem. The way to access it is difficult. The city of Seattle has set aside a special program such that people who are caught up in this will have free legal counsel that they can work with here. So that sounds like a good piece, right? But it's just accessing that system that's going to be difficult. And I'm not talking about people who live in, big apartment buildings where there's hundreds of units. There's a streamlined system there where they'll be able to connect. But I'm talking with the people who might be in that back half of the duplex or on this quadplex over here and might not be aware of all these different programs, the landlord or the renter for that matter. I think there's a lot to sort out here. I think it's going to be a very unsettled start of March, but really one of the first big tests for the Harrell administration for sure.
Absolutely. And this is something where it's like, okay, this is one of those issues that the Harrell administration is stepping into, right? Wasn't created by them. Obviously, COVID is really showcasing how cities in particular and like local governments need to be working together as best they can to really address all of these major issues that are happening. And look, we know that federal funding has come in. We talk about ARPA funding. We were trying to follow the money, right? See where that money was trickling into community, how much of it was actually hitting community. All of that is important. But we also, this is why I've been saying, why isn't there a federal approach to this? And I love it because even you and I got into this one time too, because actually it is on local municipalities. And ultimately they have to deliver it. I start going, okay, well then there's an opportunity to kind of learn from city to city across the nation. Who is going to be able to get this right? That can kind of create a model for other major cities to follow. It's different in rural areas. We know that. We can see the data. But it sparks my mind here because I go, okay, well, what city is going to step up to the plate and do this in a way that other cities go, there it is. Like there's kind of an answer that we can glean from.
I hope Seattle is part of that. I will say Seattle was a leader during COVID in terms of getting people vaccinated and getting people tested, whatever else. I think that's something to hang the hat on for the city right there. But now it really is that next step. So as we emerge from the pandemic, and knock on wood, that's going to keep on rolling here, but we're going to start seeing some of these things start to fall into place and be tested too, because the mayor's talking about, all right, city employees get back on it. We're jumping in the middle of March here, right? You hear Microsoft out in Redmond saying, yep, employees come on back. So I think we're at that point where we're testing the waters a little bit here. But as we come out of the pandemic, you're absolutely right. These are the kind of questions where I think someone's looking for some answers here, but a lot of different cities are kind of making it up as we go. We'll have to see what happens with the numbers here for COVID, et cetera. That's going to be really important to watch going forward.
You know, Brian, I always appreciate you coming on because, you know, there's so many different things to really tap into here. And, you know, Seattle is a major city in the nation that is really trying. And I see that there's efforts happening here. Again, I think that the Biden administration has its own difficulties and barriers around some of these things, because as you try to get something passed, we've seen it time again with Joe Biden, where it's not, certain things are just not hitting, right? And really maybe some good intentions are there. They're built into these approaches. But if it doesn't pass, then what do we do? Right. So it just feels like a lot of things are kind of on their own hamster wheel. And I don't know. I mean, my thing is I want to make sure that the people are being taken care of. And I'm sure that if everybody really has that at the center, eventually we might find ourselves in some good bed of solutions here.
Yeah, I'm sure hoping, because I mean, later on this week, just to talk about a few more things that are on the show, we are talking about a big announcement coming from Governor Inslee on Thursday. He's going to start talking about indoor mask mandates and what needs to happen with those going forward. So that's going to be super interesting. And another piece that we're bringing up in the show here too, I wanted to mention, we're also talking about Sound Transit 3. So this is that project that's rolling all around our area here. They've been talking about it in the city council. Their transportation committee looked at it today. There's this thing called a draft environmental impact statement. You'll hear it called a DEIS. The council's been talking about it. Public comments starting to come in on this. It was starting at the end of January there. You actually have until April 28th, folks, to get in your comments about this. And this is super important, especially in communities of color. I'm thinking about Chinatown especially, because they're saying, all right, you're going to bring this train through here and cut up our community again. Remember what happened with the I-5 back in the 60s? Now Little Saigon's over here and the rest of the Chinatown ID's over there. So there's a lot of sensitivity around that. The flip side of this is, and this is really important, David Croman is the transportation reporter for the Times, who's talking about this quite a bit. The big issue is, okay, if we're not going to do this thing above ground, then we got to dig down. We got to dig down like 190 feet maybe. So it could take like 5 minutes just to get to the train to go anywhere. And you want people to use this, right? So that's an issue. Other parts of downtown where they're talking about digging deep, 140 feet or whatever else. So this whole idea of, hey, I want this train underground sounds cool, but it definitely costs a lot of money, more money than Sound Transit has right now. And it's also one of those things, it might actually impact who is willing to ride it. And it's a really interesting discussion right now. I want people to get engaged with it because this is a huge project that's going to affect our entire region. Make sure you check out Sound Transit 3. Google it if you have to, but there's some public comment period that is happening right now, and it ends on April 28th. So make sure you put in your comments because it's a super important issue.
Yeah, this is one thing that I a part of the process I really appreciate is opening up for public comment.
Yeah.
How much do they use it? How much do they actually benefit from it? I think I love when people are able to say, this is how it's going to hurt my neighborhood. This is how it's going to impact me personally. And then there's people that are like, look, I'm looking forward to having this as an option. The idea is that public transit has been such a major factor here, and particularly in Seattle and Washington State. I mean, you mentioned that I-5, coming in, I-90. I mean, there is a whole documentary put on called, Bridges to Nowhere, rails to ramps to nowhere actually is what it's called. And it literally is talking about this and how the community had to stand up to say, look, we don't want this in our, it was going to just derail so many things as it has. And yet at the same time, I live in Federal Way. If I didn't have that direct I-5 access, who knows how long it would take for me to get to the city. So we see that it's a dichotomy here. Like there's always, perspectives on both sides that really make transportation a hot button issue.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's one of those things where if you're not asking what's for dinner, you might be on the menu. You know what I'm saying? So you have to get yourself represented here. And there's a lot of different ways you can reach out. I hope people do that because it is one of those issues here that affects so many different people here. And just jumping back on the Chinatown ID, they've been looking at this for a long time. And it was interesting because Sound Transit didn't put out what is called a preferred alternative. Like, hey, we think this is probably the one that's going to float, make the most sense. They were so concerned about this, they did not put out a preferred alternative for the Chinatown ID. So they're still really looking for some answers and some input here. I know the Seattle City Council is going to weigh on this too, but I really hope that your viewers weigh in on this as well, because like I say, it's an important issue in terms of equity. It's an important issue of how we get around. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if you had an easier way to get into the city other than taking I-5 all the time? I mean, there's some different ways to think about this, and this is a super important issue, and I really hope people get involved with the outreach that's needed here.
Well, every time we talk about transit, honestly, I think about how I'm witnessing the expansion of the light rail, right?
Yeah,
the Link light rail is one thing that I am seeing right full throttle, because now those pillars are being built in Federal Way.
Sure.
You're starting to see the ramps come together, and this connectivity from the 200th, the last station that's the furthest south.
Yeah.
You're seeing that connection now. And honestly, I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a pain, because to a certain degree, as they're building it, that you're still having to maneuver around all the construction.
Sure.
However, we know that eventually in a couple years, we're going to see
know.
the beauty of that light rail coming
know.
through. And then it's like 20 minutes to get, from Federal Way to downtown Seattle.
Yep.
And really, for me, there's always this environmental impact.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes we don't talk about that, but that is key in when it comes to transportation. So, you know what? At least there's some things that are happening that are going to help, but I'm glad that you guys mentioned this. And always Seattle News, Views, and Brews is bringing us the stories. Cool. Brian, make sure that people know where they can reach out and get connected to Seattle News, Views, and Brews.
Cool. Thank you, Trey. Make sure you check me out at Callanan Seattle on Twitter. If you want to watch the show, you can connect with it, of course, right here on Converge, or make sure you reach out to us on Patreon, Seattle News, Views, and Brews. We'd love to have you watch, and we'd love to get your support too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. You always bring a plethora of topics that are so on point. So thank you for being here.
Great to talk with you, Trey.
Always,
All right,
always. You guys, amazing topics with all of our guests today. I get to close the show with my brother G Prez standing in for Big O today. Love that he's here. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Love Week right after this short break. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
In the depths of Belize, the travelers come across the waters, harvesting with their hands, learning of resilience rooted deep in the lands. Culture thriving like a fire ablaze, sizzling with a pop and a chop, sharing its ways. Knowledge simmers and grinds into the hearts and minds, cutting away from the surface stories and colonial lies, boiling it down, breaking its shell as the truth pours out and gets plated collectively with love, spooned into bowls, feeding the soul. Garifuna, alive and strong at Palmetto Grove.
When the pandemic hit, it did affect me. As a barber, I had my own personal reasons why I didn't get vaccinated. At the time, I didn't check the actual source. I thought the vaccine was developed too fast, but I was talking to a doctor and he was telling me more about the vaccine and what it can do to protect us and our family. I wanted to get back to that once was, right? I do feel safe knowing that I am vaccinated. I just hope what I'm saying is reaching into people's heads to know that this is the best decision for all of us.
Hi, welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I am your co-host, Trey Holiday, and it's been a beautiful Welcome Wednesday here in the Black Media Matters studios at Converge Media, and I get to bring my guy, back onto the set. G Prez, what up, G
Come
Prez?
on, back in the building like I never left. You already know what it is.
Always. And I don't know how you managed to know that red was going to be a color of the day, but I'm with it, man.
Man, luckily I get some aid and assistance. You know what I'm saying? I can't even take credit. You see me looking fly, somebody else did it. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to Angel for putting it together for me today. My normal stylist is BZ2000. Shout out to Frederick, the photographer, art by Frederick. He normally puts my fits together. So I just be having so much going on. I'll be like, help me out, yo. Lay something out for me.
Look at you. Big things, man. Big things. And you also got other big things going on, man. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on, G-Prez.
Well, I got an incredible project that I get the honor to be a part of. It's called Beloved. Beloved is a project of a group of great people where we're trying to bring awareness to gun violence in our community. So if you want to learn some more about it, tap into Beloved at the following Instagram at Beloved King County, on Twitter at Beloved MLKC, or by visiting the website belovedkingcounty.com. So we're just trying to bring some strong awareness, bring out some resources, bring out information on how gun violence affects us in our community, and try to get some counseling and more just information of the great organizations that are collectively working to change that in our community, to end gun violence in our community. So Beloved is a great project. I was honored to be requested to be a part of it, and we're pushing it hard. We're definitely going to be out in the community more and more, bringing awareness. So check us out at belovedkingcounty.com.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for mentioning that. And I'm so glad that you're a part of that amazing project. The last time we got a great update on it, we had Katoya and Eric in the building.
Yeah.
And, I remember they were like, it's not beloved, it's beloved. So I'm a nerd and my friend's a nerd. And we looked this up because I was like, I've been saying beloved my whole life, right? and so really beloved is the pronunciation if it is a noun. So if it's a person, place, or thing, you could say beloved. If it's an adjective, you say beloved. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because they were like, no, it's beloved. And I'm like, all right, bet. I'll say it however they want to say it. The point is that there's beautiful work happening, and you guys are doing a plethora of ways that you guys are talking about this. It's not just, interviews or just, posts on social media. You guys are doing a wide variety of ways that everybody's bringing their brilliance into it. So I'm so glad you're a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that one of my favorite components of it is that we're involved with the Facts newspaper, which, touches my heart. I'm straight from the CD, literally grew up 100 yards away from the Facts where they lived at, from their office. So there's great opportunities for everybody to get involved. I got some more information. You can support Black media by purchasing advertising space in the special edition of the Facts newspaper, featuring beloved community editorials and essays. Our first edition is going to hit the stands on February 23rd. You can email seattlefacts@yahoo.com for more information. You can also follow the hashtags at Beloved King County and Beloved Campaign. So yeah, it's dope. We're going to be bringing some art installations. We potentially will be having a vehicle, one of my former party buses that have been converted, that's going to be wrapped. That will be like a mobile event space, a mobile resource center that we're going to be able to pop up and just set it off wherever we come. So Beloved is something that's dear and close to me, and I'll look forward to bringing it really, really out to the community.
Well, this is a great week to be talking about Beloved, because it's a continuation of love, as we've been talking about today. And you know what? You're right. I mean, the fact that there are amazing folks on this campaign that are bringing their lived experience to it, but also their compassion and love for community. I know you're one of them, Prez. You always are showing up. Anytime I can hit you up, you're like, what's good? What you need? Like, that's how you show up. And we talk about that need for young people to actually feel that love. As we saw gentrification hit our neighborhood so hard, in our community so hard, to know that we still have that we still have that connectivity is so key to so much of what we do.
Well, and I appreciate that you mentioned that, that I do try to show up whenever I'm called upon from the community. But one of the things that I'm personally working on is not being so responsive, but being more proactive. And this campaign has given me the opportunity to be proactive, to bring my connections, creativity, my passion to something that's really dear to my heart. So I'm showing up and I'm pulling up the phone and I'm calling. I'm going to be calling people like you and other resources to say, hey, come and be on the team, come support this, help spread awareness, and let's do our part the best we can to bring attention to gun violence so that we can stop gun violence in our community.
Well, I think almost all of us have been impacted by gun violence in some way, whether it's families we know, friends we grew up with, peers that we love, family members ourselves. Honestly, I'm here anytime you guys hit me up, man. Please keep me posted. I told Eric and Katoya the same thing. Please keep me posted because I absolutely adore this effort. And I'm so glad that people I know and love are on it. What else you got going on over there?
Valentine's Day and everything is a dope day, but it's too much love for one day. You know what I'm saying? So we bringing the love for the whole week. I got a little something for you. Got a little bouquet of flowers. From the Pike Place Market. Make sure you go down to the Pike Place and support those vendors down there. That's I go to the Pike Place all the time.
Yeah.
Like straight up. I'm like a tourist in that joint. And then here's a little presidential transportation, little gift bag for you. I just want to show some love to my sister. I love how you represent. I love how you go hard for yourself, your kids, and the community. I just wanted to show some love to you.
Look at that. And you know what? I received this love. Thank you so much. You don't even know. Thank you so much for thinking of me today. I'm telling you guys, he always brings the energy. I didn't know it was going to be gifts this time too. That's in addition to all of your amazing energy. Thank you so much, bro.
Man, you're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, I'm just always excited to come down here. When O calls me up, I'm like, man, I'm clearing the schedule. I'm there, and this wall, every time I come, it always warms me up every time I come into this studio. So it's my honor and pleasure, definitely.
Well, I think that Omari and I get to do a little plug here because Omari's connection to community is genuine and it's authentic and it is through and through. When we talk about how our community loves on one another. And, because this week, Valentine's starting, people could say, oh, it's, this type of holiday, it's whatever. But I just see it as a time to really celebrate love.
Yeah.
And, love is truly giving, seeking nothing in return. And I see that in so many of us who are out here in community giving of all we have. Omari exhibits that. You exhibit that. I see that in my brothers here, Jake and Salman. I see that with so many people, White King. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could go on and on and on about people that I see do it. Elijah Smith. I mean, literally, there's so many people that I know that they dedicate themselves to the love of community and they give seeking nothing in return every day. And so I really appreciate this because sometimes you have to be reminded that it's worth it to keep on going every single day. Somebody is watching and somebody is benefiting from the love you're pouring out there. And so this means a lot to me, honestly. And I just had to extend it to because I see him working hard. And when he calls you up, you show up. I see you working hard too. So thank you so much.
Well, man, if you're still celebrating some love for the week, there's a few things you can do. Tonight, La Familia out in Des Moines, they got the live band jamming out there on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, they got the live band. If you're in the live entertainment this Friday, the goodie bag will be at the Rumba Notes in Columbia City. And you know how the goodie bag gets down. This Saturday, STG presents comedy show Dion Cole at the Moore Theater. That's another opportunity. And the big dogs in the house this weekend, D.L. Hughley is going to be live at my guy Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Show in Tacoma. So log on to superfunnycomedyshow.com for more information on that. STGpresents.com for more information, or check out my Facebook, Prez Asphy, or at Prez206 on IG. I got all that information, man. Follow your boy.
Look, follow your boy. You got the plug. I'm about to hit you up and be like, what show we going to? When we going? Where we going? I'm so with it, man. I'm so with it. Thank you for bringing that good vibes and good energy. And honestly, there is a reason to celebrate because love is all around us. And, we got to do what we can to continue to be loving beings. Man, Prez, I'm so glad you were here. You guys, tomorrow we have some amazing guests as well. We're going to be having our let me make sure I do this in order for you, Salman. We're we're going to be having our girls. We talked about Julia. Jessie is in the building. Clapback Culture is going to be live in studio tomorrow at 7 p.m. We also got on the Morning Update show, we got Besa coming through with the Rewind with Besa. My girl's going to be hitting this up. And another beauty of mine that I have known for so many years, Miss Cynthia Brothers is going to be in the building from Vanish in Seattle. She is doing phenomenal things. I mean, these are three women I love all the way through and through. I got to tell you, I'm so looking forward to tomorrow. And you know what, Prez, man, just appreciate you all the time for showing up and bringing your energy. This has been a great show.
Man, I can't wait to come back again. That's what it is.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, you know what we got to do? We got to end our show off right. Got to remind you guys to be a part of the solution. Find a way to see yourself as part of the solution. It is important that all of us do that as best we can. Clearly, G Prez is doing that. We see it with Brian, Mike. We see it with the twins. Everybody who's been on today is seeing themselves as part of the solution. I can only hope that you guys are inspired enough to see yourself as a part of the solution too. And as our guy, Big O, would say, move forward in your purpose. Go forward in your humanity. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
What do I see through a lens of fear? 1,000 little steps to go. What do I fear after all these years? Lord knows I don't even know. I've been running on the edge of a sundial, sleeping in the shadow. I've been begging you to see me, then hiding beyond the unreachable. Looking out left on a right-hand turn, just trying to make a deal. Lazy shoes and love is a love that churn. That's the kind of food that heals. I've been searching for the end of an era, waiting to be ready. The world is bigger than a moment. Be steady, that's how you can feel it's real. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got used to hiding the holes. This old world got new tricks and I'm in the thick of it. This I swear I'm already sick of it. At least I found the antidote. Oh. I know no one is a shadow. 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 No one is a shadow. But I feel naked in my new clothes, 'cause I got used to hiding